Okay, I know we have a few people still kind of straggling in, but I want to say thank y'all for staying post-meal. I appreciate that. I know I asked Leah, I didn't know if it was good or bad that I was the last person on there. And so we're just going to say that they built the anticipation for the awesomeness here in this presentation. But as I said, my name is Ashley Edwards, and I'm stationed out of the Central, Northeast, and Northwest regions for the LSU Ag Center. I've been with the Ag Center for almost a year and a half now. I started in December of 2019. And I float between those three regions, so I do have an office here at the Hill Farm. I also go to the Dean Lee Research Station there in Alexandria, and then I live in Farmerville, and so I have an office there in that parish as well to help cover the Northeast region. So what we're going to talk about today is going to be temperament. So let me ask y'all, maybe we'll get some participation. If I tell you, or if I give you the term temperamental cattle, what do you think of? Crazy.
Be careful. Be careful.
Be careful, stubborn, aggressive. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. I like that one. I'm really surprised that nobody said. I was expecting the term Brahmin, and that's usually what people say. And I love Brahmin. Okay, so I don't pick on them, and I was actually kind of waiting for that because usually I say, well, it really doesn't matter what breed. You can have a crazy Angus, you can have a crazy Hereford, you can have a calm Brahmin, a crazy one, whatever it might be. So what I want to stress today is that temperament is heritable, meaning it's moderately heritable, meaning that it can get passed on from generation to generation, and it does impact your bottom line. It does impact production of those cattle. So depending on your operation and what your goals are, temperament, a highly temperamental animal, tends to eat less, they pace more, they're very nervous when they go to eat. So there's research that has looked at what we call head down time, so that how long their head stays down in the bunk when they eat. A calm animal is like me with that banana pudding a while ago, and I didn't care what was going to happen to me. I was going to sit there and I was going to eat and I was going to keep stuff in my face. A crazier animal is going to have its head down for a lower period of time, and it's going to pick its head back up and it's going to look around. Or it's going to come up and it's going to grab some food and it's going to pace and it's going to move again. So what happens when it paces a lot? It's burning off those calories that it's just eating. So whether we're talking steers or whether we're talking mature cows or replacement heifers like what we have here, you're going to see lower rates of gain. You are going to see lower overall productivity. In our steers, there is decreased carcass quality, less fat deposition, lower marbling, so lower overall quality grades, and things like that. So for y'all, as Mr. Dave just said, we're a cow-calf state. Most of us have a cow-calf operation. So you might not be getting paid for carcass quality. So you might not be necessarily as worried about that right now. But think about your females. And think about their production and how well they are doing. So if you have a crazy female, she's likely to produce less milk. She is likely to pass that trait on to her offspring, plus they have that learned behavior. If she's always running around, that calf learns, well, mom's running, I need to run. And they just keep passing that on from one generation to the next. And it makes working those animals difficult on you as well. So there's a labor standpoint, there's an economic standpoint, and there's a safety standpoint for the livestock as well as for you. So there's many different ways that you can measure docility or temperament. I'm used to saying temperament. I did small little research projects during an internship on temperament with Brahmin cattle. And so when I say temperament, I'm talking about kind of the crazier ones. And of course, when we say docility, a lot of times our mind kind of swaps and we're saying, okay, we want the calmer ones, right, that are more docile. So there's many different measurements that you can use. I'm going to talk about three main ones today. Two that you can utilize pretty easily, and then one that kind of requires some equipment. But the first one that I'm going to demonstrate here in just a second is going to be called a pin score. So a pin score is where you score these animals on a range of 1 to 5. 1 being she really doesn't get nervous, okay? You can basically walk up to her. She might lick you. She might let you touch her. Or she'll just kind of stand there until you get real close and really into her flight zone. So she's just calm. She doesn't really care a whole lot about anything. go all the way to a 5. None of these are a 5 because if they were a 5, I'd be on the other side of the fence with you. So a 5 is going to put you on the fence. A 5 is one that's going to run after you. A 5 is one that wants to eat your lunch. A 4 is going to be one that's a little bit high-headed. It's going to pace the fence a lot. Might run into the fence quite a bit. It's going to try to stay around or stay away from you the whole time. A 3 keeps its distance, a little high-headed, but not necessarily as aggressive. And then the 2 coming down, where it's pretty calm, but it doesn't necessarily show much interest in you like a number 1 would. And you can find that chart that gives you probably better definitions than what I just did, but those are the generalized definitions there. Now the thing with pen scores is it is subjective. And so I know when we teach body condition score, we always say get somebody else to body condition score your calves or your cows because you are biased, right? You've got your favorite, you've got your one that you pick out. Well, same thing with temperament. You want to get somebody else to assess the temperament on your cattle because we all have our favorites or the ones that we don't like or whatever it may be. And so you want somebody that's unbiased to come in and actually do that. And what you do is you put 3 to 4 animals in a pen about this size. I don't know if they're going to cooperate. Obviously a larger crowd here today kind of impacts that just a little bit. But you just kind of approach each one, and I'll do that in a second. You'll approach each one and you'll just see how they interact and how they behave. And we'll do it on both groups of these heifers here, just to kind of show you and see what we've got in these pens. The other option and another thing that you might see is a shoot score. And so that is their behavior. It's usually on a scale of 1 to 6. It's very similar to the pen scores. But that's how they actually behave when they're restrained in a chute or in a raceway. Now, I was taught to go more on a pen score and less on a shoot score because one, when an animal, I'm claustrophobic. If you restrain me, I'm going to freak out no matter what. But also, too, the more you run them through that chute, the more they get used to it, the less that they're going to show any kind of behavioral issues in the chute, just because they're so used to that habit of going through there and going through there. Whereas you walking in a pen with a smaller group of them might not be as normal for them. So shoot score, again, same thing. We're doing a scale of 1, I believe it's to about a 6, and you're just looking at their behavior within the chute. Again, I was taught to go more on pen score, that they're a little bit more accurate than the shoot score, because again, as those cattle age, or the more that you handle them, the more they run through the chute, you're going to see them calm down a little bit more there. And then the third one that I want to mention is what we call exit velocity. And I don't figure that most of you will do an exit velocity because you have to have the equipment for it. So like your barrel racer timers or some kind of racing timers, you set it up as they come out of the chute. You set it at a certain distance and you watch their travel over that distance as they come out of the chute. So that is what we say is objective, right? That's got a hard set number to it on the exit flight or the flight speed when they come out and they exit that chute. Whereas your pen score is more subjective, it's more subjective to your opinion and what you see. So what I was trained to do is to do a temperament score where you take pen score, you take that 1 to 5 pen score, you take the exit velocity coming out of the chute, so both your subjective and your objective, and you can put those together and do a temperament score of 1 to 3. Once you go through and do the math for that, and 1 being very calm and docile, 2 being intermediate, 3 being temperamental. So if y'all don't mind just going on the back side of that fence, see if maybe we can take some of the pressure off of them and we'll see how they behave, and we'll talk a little bit more about these behaviors here. Now, as y'all are walking through, show of hands, how many of you will keep a crazy cow if you think she's good enough? There's a few, okay? I'm getting too old for that. I've had too much banana pudding for any of these to be too crazy today. But there are people that are going to keep them and they're going to say, well, that's fine. I can deal with it. I can handle her. I always say I grew up as the guinea pig because I was always with my dad or my grandpa or my uncle, and I was the younger one. I'm not athletic at all, but I was faster than those guys were. So I was the guinea pig to see how crazy some of these cows were, and actually helped a family who had a purebred limousine herd. But they touched those animals maybe once a year, and those cows were crazier than some of the Brahmins that we did temperament research on. So you can see they're going to bulk just a little bit, and we have been working with these ladies. These are part of our heifer development program that Lee mentioned earlier. I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to work right with me. But you can see they kind of hold their head up. When I was out here earlier with Jason and I, this yellow steer, yellow heifer, excuse me, in the middle, number 600, and then that kind of brindle one, they both kept their heads up. But when there were less people out here, you can see she runs along the fence a little bit more. So the way they're behaving right now would be probably between a 2 and a 3. The smokier one on the outsides, she's a little bit calmer. The solid black one right here is a little bit calmer than the other two. So you might do like a 2 and then some 3s. And we were worried about doing this demonstration with the crowd being out here and kind of skewing it just a little bit. But if you watch that brindle, she'll keep her head up, she's going to keep it away from me, and she's going to pace, and she'll turn and be a little bit faster than some of these others. So I bet if y'all weren't here and if we hadn't worked them as much as we have recently, she'd probably be closer to a 4, where she'd just keep running into the fence and running into the fence, but not necessarily coming after me. And that is true that, or it is true, that if you put some of these crazier ones in with some calmer ones, the more excited the crazier ones are, the more excited the calmer ones will be too. And so when you do this, you have to kind of watch and see, are they impacting each other? You might need to sort some off and kind of reassess the true temperament of some of them, because you can put crazies in and they're going to stir up all the calm ones no matter what. Trying to see. I appreciate them not putting me on the fence, but I wish they would act a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and swap them out. We'll pull that next group in real quick. So if y'all just give us just a second, we'll see what that other group's going to do as well. Okay, so we're going to see how these are going to act a little bit. Since they're kind of in a newer environment, they came through the gate a little faster than I thought they were going to, but I think they're still going to balk. So honestly, they're not too bad, because they're willing to stay in that back corner with y'all here. One that's more temperamental wouldn't care that y'all are here or not. They would still be moving. They'd still be agitated and moving around a lot. So these again are probably going to fall in that 2 to 3 range. It's hard to say for sure with everybody here and with them wanting to stick in the corner. These that are running back here, that one that goes first every time, she would definitely be a 3. She may even push closer to a 4, but she's not wanting to throw herself into the fence. And that's what a temperamental 4 or a pin score of 4 is going to do, is they're going to keep throwing themselves into the fence. So if you were to come in and use temperament in your operation, what I would do is I would come in, you can go ahead and assess it on all of your mature cows. Do your pin scores or sheep scores. Pick which one you are most comfortable with, which one works best with your setup and your operation, and stick to it. Find you someone that's willing to come out and assess this for you, and hopefully you get the same person each year doing that, because again, it is going to be their opinion, it's going to be their eyesight and what they see and what they think. So you would want the same score every year, the same person to assess it every year. Hopefully it's not you or your significant other. If it is just you and your significant other, if you're anything like me and my husband, you're probably opposites on what you think, and you can average those two together. So if it's just the two of y'all can come in and see what they think, and you can average them, and then it's going to help kind of even it out just a little bit, I would think. So pick your shoot score or pin score, whichever one you're going to use. Do it at weaning. I would give them a day or two if you're going to wean and keep them in pins. If you do it right when you pull them off, they're already kind of stressed out anyways. You can give them a day or so to settle. But if you need to do it right then and there that day, that's fine too. Again, just make sure you maintain consistency from year to year on that. I would do it at weaning. I would do it somewhere around either first breeding or first calving or both. You know that your cows are going to act a little bit different once they've calved, so oftentimes it's better to do it when you're getting ready to breed them for the first time, and then maybe do it when they're a 3-year-old, something like that, and you can have their mature temperament once they hit 3 to 4 years of age, and then after that you don't have to worry about it. But what I would encourage you to do, especially those of you that decided to raise your hands and said that you're willing to keep some of the crazier ones because they're making you money, or they're producing that good calf, run the temperament score and look at them and make sure they really are making you money. And if they make you money and their heifers make you money, and you're willing to jump on the fence, then I can't necessarily sit here and tell you to cull them, but I can tell you that if you really put pen to paper and you really start watching the economics and start watching the bottom line, I believe that you're going to find those crazier ones are going to cost you a little bit more money. I didn't mention it earlier, but their immune systems are usually a little more compromised. They tend to stay sicker more frequently. That stress hormone cortisol is increased in our temperamental cattle. That suppresses the immune system, and so they don't function, or it does not function as well as it would in one of the calmer calves. Do y'all have questions on pen scores or temperament? Jason, can you think of anything major that I've missed there? If you're interested in exit velocity or shoot scores, I'm willing to visit with y'all afterwards on that. We're not going to really demonstrate it to you. I'm sorry you didn't get to see anything super fun. I didn't have to jump on the fence or anything today, but if any of y'all know Chuck Griffin, ag agent, he just retired, this week. This was his idea, was for me to come in and do this, and he said he was going to pick the calves out because he wanted to see me get on the fence. So he'd be highly disappointed that I'm not doing that.
Hey, Ashley, why don't you, so Lee touched on Heifer Development Project. Why
Yes, sir.
don't you touch on that?
Yep.
Kind of give an outline of what we're looking to do.
Yes, so these ladies back here are part of our pilot Go Beef Heifer Development Program. And so what we did, if y'all want to come back around this side of the fence, you can. What we did was we took heifers from the Hill Farm. Here we also have some from Red River that came over. And we are going to be, we brought them up in October, we weaned them, we did a 3-day weaning process. We backgrounded them on some grain for a little bit until we could get them out on ryegrass. Put them out on ryegrass, and y'all seen what the ryegrass looks like here. Our guys here are great at growing grass, and so we did not have to supplement any through the winter. They've just been grazing. You can see that we have the cedars in them, so we're getting ready to AI them actually in about 7 days. We'll be starting that at 2 p.m. next Thursday, that we're going to be AIing, and then we'll put them out with a cleanup bull. So what we're looking at this year is if you have some heifers that you want to send, if you don't have the land or the ability to develop your own heifers, or if you just want to send 1 or 2 and let us see what we can do with them, you will send them to us in October. I believe it was September 29th, 30th, and October 1st that we're looking at receiving them here at the Hill Farm. So you bring them here to the Hill Farm. We would do that exact same process. We would have essentially a 3-day weaning process. They would go on feed until we can get them out on ryegrass in December. They would stay on ryegrass. We would give you the option of AI. You do not have to do that, but if you want to AI, you'll just pay for the cost of AI, and we would do that for you, and then expose them to some of our cleanup bulls here at the Hill Farm. Part of that, we are doing temperament, we're doing pelvic measurements, we are doing hip height. So you'll see the overall growth of your heifer, not just in weight, but in frame size and overall size and capacity as well. I'll do temperament scoring with that, so I will do a pen score and exit velocity, put those together to make our temperament scores. Trying to think if there's anything else big. Those are the biggest components for that program. What we do require certain vaccinations. We do require essentially a verification where myself, Jason, Lee, somebody's going to come out and say, okay, these heifers actually were born on this place, and that's honestly just so you don't go buy heifers at the sale barn and bring them to us for us to do that. That's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is to help y'all develop your heifers, and especially our producers that don't have the land or the ability to develop heifers. That's what this is here for. So we're going to start out this year by taking 50 head total. We're going to do that probably for the first couple of years, and then hopefully we'll be able to build and make it a little bit bigger program through the years. So it is forage based. So other than that starter ration to hold them over until ryegrass, they're going to be on ryegrass, and then we'll hold them until the end of May, June, something like that. That'll of course be dependent on the weather and what goes on there, but you would get reports from me every few weeks or every month on how your animals are doing. I'm not going to pull them up and weigh them every week. I don't see any reason to stress out your heifers just to get you some weight. I apologize if that's kind of disappointing, but I'd rather see your heifers out there graze and gain and do well. So those reports might just be, hey, she's still doing well, she's still out there, this is when we're going to weigh again, this is when we're going to AI, those sorts of things. So I'm really excited about it. It was something that they asked me to design when I first got started here, and we've been working on it quite a bit for the past year or so. Jason, Lee, myself, Brian, all the guys here have been working to put that together for this place. So, do y'all have any questions on the heifer development program, temperament, anything like that? Again, I encourage you to add temperament into your record keeping. I think it's something that you need to look at as a whole for your operation. If you want help in doing that, if you want help in looking and actually assigning these scores, I enjoy doing it. So just let me know and I'll come out and help y'all. And I think I'll turn it back over. I don't know where Dr. Owens went or Lee. I'm not in charge. So I guess we'll walk back into the barn and I'll see if they have any closing remarks before y'all head out. Thank you.